Hello student. In today's video lecture, we'll discuss about nested try-catch blocks. Already we discussed about what is exception, why do we need exception handling. We also discussed some relevant examples wherein we are taking age input from user or maybe some numbers for calculation purpose. And then how to handle the exception for unwanted situations. Okay. So, with example, we have seen try, catch, multiple catch statements, and rethrowing exception. Okay, so all these concepts we have discussed. So today we'll discuss about nested try catch block. So similar to your if else structure, you can have nested try catch blocks also. So here, if you see the example, try outer try block is there. Inside this inner try block is there. Wherein some exception. See here in this try, you may have some code here initially at the beginning. So you may have some code here, then try a block, then maybe some code, and if certain unwanted situation occurs, then you are throwing this exception. Okay, so here that if structure already we have seen how to catch the exception, how to check for that condition using if and all that. So that's the reason I haven't put if over here. But like you need to check that condition. If some uncertain situation occurs, you need to check for that condition, and in that case you are throwing the exception. So from here I am throwing the exception. So this exception will be catched by the immediate catch statement which is available for this try and catch. Okay, so this is the immediate pairing, you can say. For this try, this catch would be there. So here this exception would be caught and this relevant message will be displayed on the screen. Now next, again I'm having this throw statement. So after handling this exception here, after displaying the message, again for example, I want to throw it outside to the default catch also. Some default message also I want to display. Like this is the specific message that I have displayed. But along with that, some for all the try catch blocks which are there inside this this outer try, I want to display some, I want to handle it together also. Like for any of the try catch block which are there, this is one try and catch block I'm having here. You may have multiple catch blocks inside this outer try. So for this, when I'm having one try and catch pair, I'm handling it or I'm displaying this specific message over here. But for all the try and catch statement inside this outer try, maybe I'm having 3 to 4 try catch statements over here. So for all these 3 4 statement, if I want to execute some common part, irrespective of this is whether this is part of the first exception, second, some common part if I want to execute. So for that I can have this outer catch. Okay, here I put a default catch over here, and then I can display some common message. Okay. So likewise, you can have nested try-catch block as per the requirement of your application. This is one example, like main, this try and inner try block is also there, wherein I have thrown this exception integer type. I caught it here and displaying this message. So first it will throw this exception 20. It is getting cached over here, and then it will display this message on the screen, handle partially. And then after that, next statement is throw again. So if I throw it again, it will be cached by the outer try now. From here directly the control goes to the outer catch. Maybe here you might be having some other code also after this, but with this throw what will happen, it will go to the catch of the outer try. So ये आपका outer try है which closes over here. So outer catch is this one. So it will enter with this throw statement. What will happen? The control goes to the outer catch. So outer catch is this one. Now it will display this message on the screen, handle remaining. So handle partially and handle remaining. This is how the message is going to be print. And after that, the control comes here, closing bracket of catch, and then next whatever is written after that will get executed. So as mentioned here, handle partially is what some issues related to this exception are handled here. Okay, and some issues which are related to this exception are handled in the outer catch. Okay, So as I told you, in one outer try you may have multiple combinations of try and catch. Okay, so those multiple try and catch combination are there to specifically handle that type of situation. So you may have multiple 3 to 4 statement or 5 statement as per your requirement, try catch statement. And then for all these 3 4 different types of try catch statement, if you want to display some common thing or handle, you want to have some common code for all these different try catch statement which you have embedded in the outer try, you can have this outer catch statement. मतलब जितने भी आपने यहाँ पे try catch लिखे सबके लिए this outer catch can be executed. Okay, so if it finds the match over here, it will execute this, and with this throw statement directly it goes to the outer catch and it will execute this remaining part. So this way you can have multiple or nested try catch statements. Okay. Now next part is stack unwinding. Now what is this stack unwinding? Um, we have already seen the concept of function, one function calling to the other function. So when one function calls to the other function, what happens? All the variables or everything related to the previous function gets pushed on the stack. Okay, then the control is transferred to other function. Now suppose this function is also calling another function, so all the variables and everything related to this function gets pushed on the stack and then control transfer. And then when control comes back, what happens? One record will be pop out from the stack. Okay, so then that execution of that second function will be done. And then again, once that execution is over, the control goes back to the original function. So again, stack record will be popped out. Okay. So this is how nested function calls get executed. Now, how this is related to this stack unwinding concept. Now, stack unwinding, if you see here, the stack unwinding is a process where the function call stack entries are removed runtime. Okay, that is, here we are trying to remove those function call stack entries at runtime. Okay, based on the exception handlers that we have. Okay, in C++, when an exception occurs, the function call stack is linearly search for the exception handler. It will search for the exception handler. In case of any throw statement or exception occur, it will search for the exception handler. And all the entries before the function with exception handler are removed from the function call stack. Now, how it happens? Let us see this. Let us understand it with the help of one example. Like in this example, let us start from here. Okay, the last line, integer main, and from main I'm calling one function f3. Okay, so from here the control goes where? To the f3 function. Okay, there is a first we are calling f3 function, so control goes to f3. Now which message will get on the screen? Entered function 3. Okay, so this message will be displayed. Now in try I'm calling function 2. So when function 2 call is there, the control goes to function 2. So all the things related to this, everything will be pushed on the stack. Okay, because control is going to f2. So before that, everything in this function 3 will be put on the stack. Now in function 2, it will display this message on the screen, entered function 2. Now there is a call for function 1. So what will happen now? Everything related to this will be put on the stack and the control goes to F1. Now in F1, it will display this message, entered function 1. Okay, and then after that, after displaying, it is throwing some exception. Maybe you can have if for checking the conditions and all that, but point here is that it is throwing some integer type of exception. Now, do we have any try catch block over here to catch this exception? No, we haven't defined any try catch block in F1. So what will happen if it is not, we are not catching that exception over here, it will try to find it out in the next function which has called this f1. Okay, so from here, from this throw statement, the control goes to this f2. Now in f2, here from wherever that function was called, the control comes here. Now here it will try to find out whether that try catch block is there. If not, See here, the control is transferred. See, throw 100 means what? Control will be transferred to this place to find out the try catch. When control is transferred to this place, what will happen? The stack entry for this F1 will be automatically removed from the stack. Okay, the record which is entered on the stack will get removed. Okay, from the stack. So unwinding of the stack is happening now. Now with this throw, the control comes back here. Now here also it will try to find out the try catch block. If try catch block is not found over here, then again the entry related to this function will be come out. Okay, the function related entry will come out of the stack. Okay, and then control goes back to the place from where this F2 was called. अब F2 आपने कहाँ पे कॉल किया है? यहाँ पे कॉल किया है. Okay, so control comes here. And now it will try to find out whether catch is there to catch integer type of exception. Yes, it could find that catch over here. So it will execute this part. So this message will be displayed on the screen. Caught exception and I. For I, which value we are passing? 100. So that 100 value will be displayed on the screen. Now it is the normal termination because it has got that exception. So properly it gets executed. And then this message will be displayed on the screen. Exiting function 3. So properly this message will be displayed on the screen. This function will end over here and then control comes back to the main part. So here what messages we are getting, how the control is getting transferred from F3 to this function call, we will get this message entered function 3. Okay, now this function call again, so this control comes here, we'll get this message on the screen, entered function 2, again function call comes here, display this message, and from here throw statement is there. So throw hai to then it will try to find out try catch blocks. So here it will not get that, so directly control comes here. So just observe that this part is not going to be executed because all these stack entries related to this function are automatically removed because we are transferring the control back to the original calling function. So this function related to this function, whatever records are there on the stack, automatically those entries will be removed from the stack. Okay, that process is called as stack unwinding. It is happening in a reverse order. Unwinding is automatically happening. Now here also it is trying to find out try catch, it won't get. So again from here, if it doesn't get it, it will try to find out to the calling part of F2. The calling part is here. Now, so for this, whatever stack entries are there, those will be removed. So the next statement is not going to be executed because from here directly control comes here to the calling part of this function 2. Now here it will try to find out the catch. Now it could find the catch over here, it will execute it, so you'll get this message. Now it is proper exception you have handled, so this catch will be executed. This after closing catch, whatever next statement you put here will be executed, so you'll get this message on the screen exiting function 3. If in other statements are also there here, will get executed, and then this function ends. Function end is what? Again control comes back to the main function. So this is how automatically that stack unwinding is happening, and that's the reason we are not getting these messages on the screen, exiting function 1, exiting function 2, because here we haven't put try and catch block. So this throw statement is always trying to find out the try catch block to handle this exception. So from here the control comes here. Here also it is not getting the try catch, so again control comes to the calling part of F2. Here it will get the catch block. Okay, so this is about stack unwinding. So same process. So this is the output. Yes, just now we discussed entered function 3, function 2, function 1, and caught exception and exiting function 3 only. We are not getting exiting function 1 and exiting function 2 on the screen. And same process I have explained here. When F1 throws exception, see here, F1 throws exception, its entry is removed from the function call stack. Okay, that entry will be removed from the stack because F1 doesn't contain exception handler, that is try and catch for the thrown exception. Then next entry in call stack is looked for the exception handler. So next entry, see here it couldn't find that try catch block, so it will remove this record from the stack and then control is transferred to F2. Here F2 matlab kahan pe aayega? Exactly to the calling part of this function, because from here only we have called F1. So it will reach back here, it will try to find whether catch is there. If no, then again remove the record related to F2 from the stack and control jumps back to the calling part of F2. Here, if it gets the catch block, proper execution will take place, everything will be done, and then only control comes back to to the main function. So that removing those record from the stack, okay, at runtime for finding out the appropriate catch statement or handler, exception handler, is called as stack unwinding. So the same process is explained here. The next entry is F2. Since F2 also doesn't have a handler, its entry is also removed from the function called stack. Okay, so from stack, that function call entry is removed. The next entry in the function call stack is F3. Okay, since F3 contains an exception handler, the catch block inside F3 is executed, and finally the code after the catch block is executed. Okay. So here we need to note that exiting function 1 and exiting function 2 is not getting executed. Okay. And this process is called as stack unwinding, because automatically we are removing those records from the stack without executing the next part. And we haven't executed the next part. With this, it will directly trying to search for the catch statement. So for whatever things you put on the stack, already those things will get removed from the stack, and then control goes back to the calling part of that function to find out the catch. Okay, यहाँ पे भी नहीं मिला तो again that stack entry will be removed related to this function from the stack, and control goes back to the calling part of F2, and here it finds the catch and everything is executed properly. So this process is called as stack unwinding. So finally here points to remember is you can have nested try and catch blocks. Okay, after exception handling, the program returns to the point after the try catch block, not after the throw statement. So wherever throw is there, the control is not transferred back to the throw statement. After throw, the control goes to the catch. Okay, and after once that catch is executed, again it doesn't come back to throw, but it will execute the next statement after catch block. Okay. And so this is all about exception handling. Okay, so I hope you understood all the concepts of exception handling. We have seen that there is a difference between normal errors and exception. Okay, compile time errors are shown by the compiler if you make any syntax related error. Then logical errors are like your understanding of the problem statement is not correct, whereas exceptions are some exceptional situation, as the name suggests, exceptional situation that may happen runtime. Okay, user enters some zero value for like unexpected user inputs we are getting, okay, for execution purpose. So those situations we can handle with the help of exception. Okay, so we have seen that using try and catch block you can handle the exception. You can have nested try catch block. To one try block you can have multiple catch also. Okay, because from one try you can throw different types of exception. Sometimes you may throw integer type of exception, sometimes float, and so on. You can also have a default catch at the end. Okay, so if none of the catch is matching with the throw statement, then in that case default will be executed. Okay, then rethrowing is also possible, like you are calling some function, okay, and in that function you have a try catch block and a throw statement to handle it, and then in catch block again you are rethrowing that exception, so that rethrow will go back to the catch block in the main function. Okay, so rethrowing is also possible. So this is all about the exception